Have you ever looked at someone in their late 70s or even well into their 80s and wondered how they still seem so energetic, so independent, and so mentally sharp, while others of the same age struggle with everyday life? The answer may surprise you. It isn't hidden inside an expensive supplement, a miracle treatment, or a secret available only to a lucky few. According to a growing body of research, the biggest difference often comes down to a handful of everyday habits that many people gradually stop practicing as they grow older. Stay with me until the very end, because the final habit is one of the most overlooked discoveries in healthy aging, yet research suggests it could play one of the biggest roles in helping people stay mentally and physically independent after the age of 75. For years, many older adults were told that aging automatically meant slowing down, accepting weakness, and expecting a steady decline in both body and mind. While aging certainly brings changes, modern research is painting a much more hopeful picture. More scientists are discovering that the human body remains remarkably adaptable, even during the later decades of life. Small, consistent actions can influence strength, balance, memory, energy, and independence, far more than many people realize. After spending years working with older adults, one pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The individuals who continue driving themselves, tending their gardens, enjoying family gatherings, remembering birthdays without needing reminders, and confidently managing their own daily routines usually have something in common. They aren't relying on magic solutions. They practice simple behaviors day after day, allowing those habits to quietly build a stronger body and a healthier brain over time. One long-term study conducted through the Stanford Center on Longevity followed thousands of adults between the ages of 70 and 90 over more than a decade. The findings were remarkable. Participants who consistently maintained several healthy daily habits were dramatically less likely to experience rapid functional decline. In practical terms, they stayed independent much longer, requiring less outside assistance as they aged. That difference can completely change the quality of someone's later years. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your age in the comments and tell me which of these habits you already practice. Whether you're approaching 70, already in your late 70s, or enjoying your 80s, your experience may encourage someone else reading the comments today. Now let's begin with the sixth habit, and although it sounds simple, many experts believe it is one of the most underestimated foundations of healthy aging. Most people assume drinking water works the same throughout life. Unfortunately, that isn't true. As we grow older, especially after the age of 70, the body changes in ways that make hydration much more complicated than it once was. The kidneys gradually become less efficient at conserving fluids and filtering waste. At the same time, the brain's thirst signals become weaker. That means many older adults simply don't feel thirsty until they are already mildly dehydrated. Because the warning signs arrive later, dehydration often develops quietly without attracting much attention. Think about your bloodstream as a transportation system carrying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells throughout your body. When enough fluid is present, everything flows smoothly. But when hydration drops, even slightly, that entire delivery system becomes less efficient. Muscles tire more quickly, balance becomes less stable, the brain has to work harder to perform simple tasks. Several studies involving older adults have shown that maintaining consistent hydration is linked with fewer urinary tract infections, better balance, lower fall risk, and stronger performance on memory tests. Even mild dehydration can noticeably reduce concentration and short-term memory, especially in older adults whose bodies already have less reserve. One important difference between exceptional agers and everyone else is that they don't wait until they feel thirsty. Instead, they build hydration into their daily routine. Many begin each morning by drinking a generous glass of water before having coffee or breakfast. During the night, the body naturally loses fluid through breathing and normal perspiration, leaving many seniors beginning the day slightly dehydrated without realizing it. Rather than trying to drink large amounts all at once, they continue drinking moderate amounts throughout the day. A glass with each meal and another during the afternoon helps maintain steady hydration instead of constantly falling behind. Some healthcare professionals also recommend pairing that first morning glass of water with a small source of electrolytes, since aging kidneys don't always retain minerals as efficiently as they once did. Without enough electrolytes, Much of the water simply passes through the body without fully supporting healthy cellular hydration. One woman in her early 80s described feeling as though her thoughts were constantly wrapped in a fog. She became dizzy whenever she stood up too quickly and often felt exhausted every afternoon. Nothing dramatic appeared on her medical tests, but her daily hydration habits were falling short. After adjusting when and how she drank water each day, along with improving her electrolyte balance, she noticed significant improvements within several weeks. Her energy became steadier, her thinking felt clearer, and she regained confidence while walking around her neighborhood. Sometimes a simple daily habit quietly transforms dozens of systems inside the body without attracting much attention. Now let's move to the fifth habit, one that many older adults mistakenly believe is no longer necessary once they retire. Resistance-based movement may sound intimidating, but it has very little to do with lifting heavy weights inside a crowded gym. Instead, it simply means asking your muscles to work against some form of resistance. That resistance could come from elastic exercise bands, light dumbbells, bodyweight exercises against a wall, standing up repeatedly from a chair, or even carrying grocery bags with proper posture and intention. After the age of 75, muscles respond differently than they did decades earlier. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, muscle cells require a stronger signal before they begin repairing and rebuilding themselves. Years earlier, everyday activity may have been enough to preserve muscle. Later in life, however, muscles need more intentional stimulation. Without it, they gradually shrink in both size and strength through a process known as sarcopenia. This loss of muscle isn't simply about appearance. Muscle tissue supports balance, protects joints, improves blood sugar regulation, maintains posture, and allows people to perform basic activities like climbing stairs, getting out of a chair, carrying groceries, or recovering after losing balance. Research from respected medical centers has repeatedly connected muscle loss with increased falls, reduced independence, and shorter life expectancy among older adults. The encouraging news is that muscles remain surprisingly adaptable, even during the 8th and 9th decades of life. Studies following adults between 75 and 85 found that just 2 or 3 resistance training sessions each week produced noticeable improvements in leg strength, balance, mobility, and even insulin sensitivity after only a few months. That last benefit often surprises people. When muscles become stronger, they don't simply move the body more effectively, they also improve the way the body handles glucose, reducing inflammation while helping provide steadier energy throughout the day. Inside every muscle cell are tiny structures called mitochondria, often described as the body's power generators. Resistance exercise encourages these energy factories to become healthier and more efficient, benefiting nearly every organ system. The goal isn't perfection. It isn't competition. It isn't becoming a bodybuilder. The goal is maintaining enough strength to keep living independently. 2 or 3 sessions each week, lasting around 20 to 30 minutes, can make an enormous difference when performed consistently. Exercises focusing on the legs, hips, back, and core provide some of the greatest benefits because those muscle groups support nearly every daily activity. One particularly helpful strategy is combining resistance exercise with adequate protein shortly afterward. As we age, muscles become less efficient at absorbing amino acids, meaning the timing of protein intake becomes more important than it was earlier in life. Providing muscles with high-quality protein soon after exercise supplies the building blocks needed for repair precisely when those tissues are most prepared to use them. That combination of resistance movement and proper nutrition creates a powerful partnership that supports strength, balance, mobility, and long-term independence. And perhaps even more importantly, every time an older adult proves to themselves that they are still capable of becoming stronger, they begin replacing fear with confidence. That confidence often spreads far beyond exercise itself. It influences how people walk, travel, socialize, participate in family activities, and continue enjoying the freedom that makes life meaningful. The next habit may sound even more ordinary than the first two, yet researchers now believe it may influence everything from memory and immunity to heart health and long-term brain function. Surprisingly, It's something millions of older adults struggle with every single night.